But here are the facts. Expropriation without compensation has happened before in South Africa. In 1913, the government passed the Natives Land Act. Back then, it grabbed 87% of arable land for whites and corralled black South Africans onto reserves where they had no individual ownership rights. Black livelihoods were destroyed. Today, not enough has changed. Of all the agricultural land owned by individuals across the country, 72% is owned by whites, who make up just 9% of the population. 4% of that land is owned by black South Africans, who make up 79% of the population. Nelson Mandela pledged that 30% of South African land held by whites would be distributed to poor black citizens after apartheid. But progress is painfully slow. It's not hard to see why. Land reform is disruptive in a Robin Hood sort of way. As The Economist notes, it involves the government grabbing land from the relatively well-off and doling it out to the poor. This often involves a fight. Take China. In 1949, after the Communist Revolution, the government began grabbing land from landlords who were the victims of brutal violence. Almost half the country's arable land was distributed to 300 million people. The violence was horrific, but the reform had immediate effects. According to The Economist, grain output soared by as much as 70% in the decade following 1945. But revolution isn't always bloody. For instance, South Korea in the 1950s peacefully bought up private farms and distributed the land to tillers, minting 1.6 million small landowners. Taiwan also benefited from reforms around the same time. Scholars have often noted that good land reform policies help build a middle class that then helps democracy flourish.